London. So together with my co-author Paraskevi, we're going to present the Kakalidis Method for literature analysis and synthesis approach. So this is a method for analyzing, an innovative method for analyzing poetry and short stories, which was created by a Greek philosopher and poet who died in 1995, Dimitris Kakalidis. It's somebody who created in 1980, not far from here, maybe half an hour drive from here. He founded a spiritual center called Omilos Eksipiretiton, or the Seirios Society in Athens, which is a center for the study of the arts, humanities, sciences, philosophy. It introduces practical philosophy from a spiritual perspective, but is also given to how to approach literary works. And he began by emphasizing the practical principles of knowing thyself, which he looks into also in the study of poetry and literature, and he wrote poetry himself. Now, this work is based on two publications. One is The Wisdom of the Poem, and the other one, The Wisdom of the Short Story, where he collected 100 poems and 26 short stories of Greek authors and poets, which he analyzed using this method I'm going to talk to you about, which has been acknowledged as a global intellectual legacy by the Greek academics. He wasn't awarded by the Greek academia before he died. Now, what is this method? It's important to say that it's not a critique on the poems or the short stories. It's not a philological elaboration. It more seeks to elicit the essence present in every poem or short story. So it's kind of like a hermeneutic approach, if you like Socrates did with his disciples, if you like. So through the small, the limited, the morphic that exists in the work, it proceeds to the infinite and the amorphous, always delivering a message of resilience and liberation. So he's looking for these unconscious ways of maybe the poet or the author had in mind in order to reveal the infinite and the amorphous in what is small and limited. And it penetrates the inner spiritual sources of the creator and the creation, being light to the hidden essence of every literary work. Later on in a few minutes, Paraskevi will give you an example of that using a particular poem. I'm just introducing the theory if you like. So it very much focuses on inspiring man to achieve well-being in everyday life through the literary work, either the poem or the short story. So the basic principles of this method is founded upon is that all creation is spiritual, that creation is the entity, and every creation is an intellectual work, and it contains the knowledge, the truth, the light of the universal wisdom, which is very much based on ancient Greek thinking, right? So the starting point of the method is that there is a relationship, a constant relationship between humanity and the entity. So we become from the individual to the collective, and what is beyond the collective. There is the inner belief that every man is a complete being whose spirit is expressed through every aspect and every creation, and it has the ability to dissolve the limitations and experience the universal self and spread out in infinity the course of life. So it's very much an uplifting approach. It's looking for resolution, for resilience. It goes beyond the paradoxes and the contradictions that we're experiencing within. So when a writer or a poet is expressing that in a literary work, though the person that analyzes is looking for this sequence is followed. So how does this happen? So what is the path of the method, if you like? So starting from the human and the humanity relationship, there are certain facilitative tools that the person who analyzes the work is doing through using concepts of numbers, of images, to desymbolize the words. There's also the perspective of unifying the constructive field, working with the opposites, dark and light, fear and fearlessness, looking at the equation of matter and spirit, and also draw from different like history, philosophy, art, mythology to see how the symbols are reflected on the work in order to go to the universal. So there's these three levels that you can see considered the circles. I mean, we all know that in literature, a lot of the concepts are symbolic, and in Greek mythology, there's a lot of richness around that. There's also, in other cultures, that we can see the archetypes and different that correspond to each other. So we look for the unconscious that is hidden in the symbols. So when the unconscious is symbolized, then the wisdom of creation is presented. And he said that they always work in a magical way, the symbols. So they talk through people, either through a personification, for example, or through nature, the objects, the numbers, planets, universe, ideas, names. And whichever way they are interpreted, they have their independence, they don't lose their importance. So the symbols can stand on themselves, but also make connections between this conscious and unconscious, if you like. Now, he recommends 3 levels of analysis in every poem or short story. The first level is what happens inside the individual, who is, like a bit like in the Greek tragedy, we're fighting with ourselves, and is locked within limitation and ignorance. The next level connects to what happens in the entire humanity. So there's a struggle of the individual, but we're humanity as a whole, so we're struggling together. And the third level is what happens, beyond us, the entire universe, the cosmic scale of existence. Now, working with the connections between words and numbers is something that the ancient Greeks did a lot. For example, I don't know if you know about the arithmetic of Pythagoras, where he corresponds each letter of the alphabet to a different number and gives a meaning. Also, Homer and Herodotus talk about this, and Plato. So, Kakalidis suggests that the words are translated into numbers, using the essence of every number to describe the word's secret message. So, depending on the meaning that was attached to a number, for example, by the arithmetic of Pythagoras, he finds certain correspondence to the word. So, if we put together the words, the letters of the word and make a number, we find a corresponding meaning to it. This is more about the to give examples. So, as I said before, the Kakalidis Method synthesizes ancient Greek schools of thought, like the numerology of Pythagoras, Aristotle's command for the coexistence of matter and spirit, the endless flow of hierarchies, and the Euclid method that Socrates introduced, and also, the end of the mega and micro of Plato to connect all this together. And very much talks, as I say, about the unification of the opposites rather than creating a binary or dichotomous kind of perspective. And again, the equation of matter and spirit in the work. So, based on the principles that I mentioned earlier, in the analysis arises the fact that matter and spirit are the same. Again, as I said, in his method of analysis, he's using either historical data that connect to the symbols or the images created, or scientific knowledge or examples of myths, in order to enrich and validate the issue in question, or consolidate the man's thesis, the inner positioning for spiritual evolution. When I mention spiritual, I'm not referring to anything religious. Yeah, it's more about the transcendent, the mystical perspective. So, the objectives are what the analyst of the poem or the short story aims at is to guide the reader on a journey that is beyond the facades, the restrictions of the limited mind. It is teaching him how to deepen into the ideas and discern the hidden wisdom, as I was saying, the connection between the unconscious and the unconscious. To show him the way to knowledge that relates to inner self, and to open a way through which the conscious is awakened, to prove that we are, despite our contradictions and our paradoxes that we live, we're actually starting to the position of health and completeness and wholeness. And supporting to overcome the weaknesses so that there is a conscious state of well-being revealed in the poem or the short story. So I will invite Paraskevi to show you an example of that. Would you like to? Yes. So, she will show you the analysis of an example of one.
I can examine and analyze with the method. It is the poet Christodoulidi, and the title I ascend. Take me in your arms and tell me you are pleasing. Let me rest in your company and tell me me with your gentle hands and tell me you're very tired. Tell one another that from today your arms raise me to a light that is born in determined eyes. Companions in the journey grow out of me the man that my soul treads upon is soiled by and stands to surpass. There, beyond, lies the summer road, a little further the acacia blossom, the sirens sing, and we cover our ears, frightened, to lose ourselves in a sweet music. Go ahead. The star has sent me a ray. I ascend, holding this luminous thread. I am suspended to the arms of so many dangers. If I fall, let me fall. Hold your arms, will hold me wide open, and I will never die in this beloved arm of yours. Who is speaking in this poem? Who is the one who is asking to be held in those in whose arms? It is the voice of each human being that we hear in this poem. This is also the poet's voice, who is constantly speaking to humanity and is able to connect with the whole universe. There is a secret dialogue at all levels among all living creatures and between human beings and the divine. This corresponds to life itself in all its manifestations. According to the poet, there is an astonishing interest between each human being towards others, the absolute expression of love, an attitude of entire service. This is a sacrifice of the ego that takes place either consciously or unconsciously. What else is speaking in this poem? We can also hear Eros' voice. In this contemporary time where we live, what appears important is for human beings to take the Eros to their arms and to remove the man from Eros' soul, which is one and the same with the man of their own human soul. The era attempts to convince human beings to overcome their fears, to be able to listen to the magic song of sirens, which is the music of the infinite. Man needs to respond to the calling, to ascend, to experience the vertigo of the euphoria provoked by the senses, to see, to recognize the substance of becoming, to deepen into the meaning of life, to experience the inner being. Every hour, every moment, every day that passes is also a thought of his, in motion, the action that proclaims his liberation as eternity merges into the spirit. And every act of continuous duration of mission is a ritualistic and mystical thought that emerges from his human life so that they can express the meaning of their existence. Man comes in ecstasy by playing with the facets, and by unifying the opposites, he becomes fearless and surrenders to the revealing song of the sirens. He becomes a poet. He connects with the universe, with the suns and the planets, and the human being, whom he acknowledges the divine. He becomes ecstatic. Take me in your arms, he says to them, and tell me you are teasing. The poet refers the one and only love, the ultimate, the divine one that brings resolution. And this is the everyday love, as man expresses it in every occasion, the true love that has to be expressed. And he comprehends it during the infinite years of his life. He welcomes it, he accepts it as it comes to him in the form of his companions. Everything exists in the void and falls demands a praise, even money itself. It is nothing more than the divine's praise. It is the divine hands that holds the cosmos. It is the human hands that hold all whole. According to tradition in some place, the priests of Athenian mysteries had the power to intervene and influence even the sun's orbit with their hands. Mystics possess the power of healing hands, as the poets emphasize. A person's heart, smooth, heal, love, rescue him from himself as he is suspended in the arms of so many dangers. That is the necessity of his evolution